Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the Heir of Carthage, and we are in the Alexander's Legacy Seleucid campaign. Going to continue where we left off. Sorry that the videos were still a little bit few and far between last week. I was still very much struggling with the after effects of a sinus issue that I had, wherein I lost my voice. I believe everything is totally back to normal. I do have some busy work weeks, but I should be able to get some things done. And I did get to stream both times last week, and during that streaming, had some insane support from multiple people, but yeah, and thanks to especially the big efforts by Clone Trooper Wheeler, Dementia, and Shug, who all pitched in a huge way. I'm going to be basically using that donation to help push out as many videos as I can this week, so it's a win for everybody, right? So thanks for their support, and I'm going to, like I said, make as many videos as I possibly can this week as a thank you, and hopefully a Christmas present as well to everybody. I'm going to wait in this weather. I don't really want to go in the fog. Let's start this. And it looks like I'm supposed to receive reinforcements, I guess, because it's doing this massive stack. I think there's the settlement is nearby, or had reinforcements. I don't remember exactly what the setup was on this battle, but we'll get it taken care of. Do appreciate those of you who were commenting on the last episode. Definitely appreciate it. And of course, I don't have a specific topic today per se for you all to comment on. So I think probably the best thing to do in lieu of that, I do have, I believe, the save file for my old West Rome Legendary campaign, and some part of me would like to complete that. But other than that, what I would like from you all is if you can continue to put ideas in here for other historical campaigns that you would like to see in the future. And if you just leave those in the comments, I will take a look at it and do my best to read through all of those. So I'm going to fast forward a bit. Yep, we do have reinforcements coming in. I don't know that we need our reinforcements, but they are here nonetheless. They are coming in from the flank over here. And they are all here. I'm just going to hard group them and give them an attack order to start moving this way. Alright, meanwhile, push up my main force. I'm going to fast forward. I need to get my Persian light archers into range. I have Celtic skirmishers, youths. Yeah, Celtic skirmishers and youths, so they are outranged for sure. There's an Oathsworn general. We'll want to take him pretty seriously, as Oathsworn are very, very tanky units. And not one that you want to underestimate. For some reason the Arverni just did like a weird reposition, I guess because I have an army moving up on their flank. They are now just like running. Oh, now they're coming at me. Okay, so let's just stand still. My reinforcements are still on the way in. Get my pikemen. They are fresh, so I'm going to go ahead and get into a pike phalanx. Let's pull our Persian light archers back and put them into a guard formation. That way they don't run forward, looking for vain glory and getting themselves killed. Alright, so our pike phalanx is ready to give the Arverni a rather loving embrace. One that I don't think the Arverni particularly hoped for or wished for, but they're going to get it nonetheless. Up here, countercharge here. Let's get into those levies. I head into Bailey here, push forward with my cavalry. I'm going to start targeting Celtic youths. We don't want those youths having a bad influence on my pike phalanx with their javelins.
Our general is under attack.
General should be okay.
What are your orders?
Move out here. Hazet Knights, and then And I'm going to rear charge these spear warriors here. Let's get a good old trample charge in there. Ozet Knight's going to run down those skirmishers. Persian Lights can take out the next Celtic youth. And my general has a great opportunity here. I'm going to inspire himself. And then stampede as well. Actually, let's just hold back these units. I'm almost certainly just going to end up hurting my own.
Our men flee the field of battle.
And I'm going to cease fire with these 2 units, because I'm probably just going to hurt my own elephants. I'm going to pinch this Oath Swarm between 2 Ozet Knights. Archers can start working those Celtic skirmishers. And my general is going to keep working those Levy Freemen. Got about 100 kills with my cataphracts. The Oathsworn just got pinched between 2 units of heavy cavalry. Life is not going to be great for them. I'm going to just run my knights out of here and let all that infantry come in and busy up the Oathsworn. Up to 300 kills on my elephants. That is definitely acceptable. Okay, so I was able to pull out with my cavalry. I'm going to reset my Ozet Knights for another charge. Elephants are still on a killing spree. I'm going to kind of pull these elephants forward, really get into these Celtic warriors. There we go. Racking up some kills. Alright, should be time to utterly massacre the Oathsworn. I do have some pike units that are mixed up in this. They're not in a phalanx, but it's fine. They were just the reinforcement units from the garrison, so I'm not overly concerned about them, to be honest. Alright, so another rear charge from the Ozet Knights has left the Oathsworn wavering, but this is a tough unit, and Ozet Knights don't possess the same charge bonus that shot cavalry does, so surprisingly stood up to a lot of punishment there. So I say don't underestimate Oathsworn. You give them the right position, and they will make you pay a dear price in your efforts to obtain victory. So we're going to get ourselves a victory. Speaking of there, release the let's go ahead and release the captives. Just pick up the extra cash. Yeah, okay, we were relieving the siege here. The settlement had been under siege. That's what we were up to. Let's go with Poseidon here. And let's start getting some barracks in place. And try and make this a somewhat self-sustaining settlement here.
Commander?
I don't know how long it'll be till we possess the whole of it. The Stalkers of Kama are now alone and weak. We can finish them off. So the Arverni's attempts to take back their settlement failed miserably and cost them their entire army.
Ready for battle. Get to it, men.
We shall replenish rather quickly there, I believe. Carthage is marching some forces through the vicinity, which is fine. I don't have any issues with that. They're an ally. At least they say they are. Hopefully it remains that way. Upgrade my horsemen. This army has mostly replenished and can move forward. Run some upgrades there with some of the cash. We've got a huge bunch of cash for having finished like a chapter objective. I think we can go into an ambush stance, but we need 50% of our movement points. So I'm going to move up here, enter the ambush stance. We should be able to continue replenishing. That'll lay an ambush for our Celtic friends, so to speak. Calling them friends at the moment. I think we know how I really feel about them. Move this force into Medlan, where I believe we have access to the elite cavalry that we still need to recruit. Yeah, let's get a couple Ozet Knights,
Fight with us.
Hellenic Cataphracts, and then that army will be finished up and ready to help us. Meanwhile, back in Anatolia in the war
At your command.
against Tylus, of course, my Media here came and took what used to be my settlement that had been taken by Tylus. So very kind of them to step in and rob me of settlements. That's always appreciated.
None will escape.
Upgrade the... Oh, I can't upgrade them because they're already moving.
Has been halted.
I was going to upgrade those horsemen.
To the settlement.
Just take out the garrison here. Retake this settlement. So it's okay that Media took that. It's really not the end of the world. It's not really hurting me. Just occupy.
Commander.
They are satrapy, so them controlling that is pretty close to me controlling it, with the main difference being that I can't choose which buildings get built. Galatia has reformed itself and retaken its former capital. We've got a large army of tribal warriors with an oath-sworn general and some spears. Still operating here for Tylus. I'm going to go ahead and attack Ankara.
Besieging the settlement.
I still have some units that need to be slightly
Dogs.
replenished, but should be okay. Let's just continue the siege. They're not going to be able to hold out here for long.
Besieging the settlement.
And Tylus is going to find themselves starting to get bottled in.
At your command.
Griffin's Grace is lacking a unit here. This one's Thorax Swords and Thurio Spears. Not a particularly strong army. One that we should probably retrofit just a little. But I think in the meantime, I may just march it hard to Samosata and just garrison that settlement. That way, it won't be easily taken. But we now have more than enough troops in position to finish off Tylus. We are working on improving the troops in this army as well. Looks like cavalry is all we are lacking. Let's grab another Ozet Knight. And we'll put one Hellenic Cataphract in there. And then this fleet was ready to move into Rhodes. It's in a forced row, so we don't want that.
None shall pass.
Getting ashore would be good. That way we can't get picked up by Tylusian fleet. So I think we're pretty well set here. I'm going to continue my intelligence gathering on the Arverni positions. We have eyes on one army. And then let's take our diplomat who's up here. Continue our exploration of Boii territories. We got the Heralds of Triton. We're now fully replenished. There's no targets for them. Well, there is Ephesus. We could go blockade. So let's make for Ephesus. You know what, though? The Howling Wolves, they have that small army there. I shouldn't have left. Well, actually, we'll be okay, because it has some pike garrisons, so never mind. We'll be alright. No huge worry there. I do need to raise another fleet. This one had just captured Ars, the legendary city. Be nice to liberate the Turdatani, and I will before the end of the campaign, but right now they're controlled by Numidia, and I don't want to get in and start an unnecessary fight, per se, with Numidia, as it just won't really do me any particular good at the moment. With this ton of money we have left, I'm just going to start slotting in a ton of building upgrades. Just because we can, and we're still going to easily spend it all, I'm certain. Because building upgrades in this game are rather expensive. And it can take you quite some time to build things up because of that cost. There we go. So see, we had a very easy time spending all that money. Alright, I'm going to end this turn. But we do have some skill points, and then I'm going to pick up some of the comments that you all left on the last episode. This is Hannibal's Revenge, so I'm going to go down the strategist tree. Okay, let's go ahead and end our turn here. I know on the last episode I had asked you all which game you preferred because CA had mentioned, you know, having a 2021 review of Napoleon versus Empire. So let's get to some of those
Their
responses.
spirits tell us that we should
Of
offer
course,
you gold.
Galatia wants a peace
Do not
treaty.
argue with spirits.
Please don't kill us. I know we took your stuff, but please don't kill us. What a joke. Hopefully they don't kill off my elephants, but I'm relatively close to a spot where I can recruit them if necessary. So I won't get too up in arms about running an auto-resolve here. Sean Ward was the first one who had a response for us. And Sean's response, let's take a look at this. It's got Celtic? It's got Celtic. I don't really want to raise it, though, because I controlled it for so long. But then again, they built their crap here, so raise it is.
We hunger for battle.
Jerks. Okay, anyway, he says, I love both games, but I'd take Empire every time over Napoleon. Loved Fire by Rank, loved the global scale, and so few people mention the unit diversity. Man, I really need them to make a new one. I do too. Honestly, just starting with, honestly, just even starting with a remastered version of Empire would be fantastic. Like, go address some of the AI issues, address some of the bugs and crashes that were there, update the user interface, you know, and some of the options to be a little bit more modern, like they did with Total War Rome remastered. So I feel like that just that alone would be massive for Empire Total War, because it was left with a lot of issues. I tend to agree, like, Napoleon was a beautiful game, and a really cool themed game about a very interesting period of warfare, right? So I don't hold any of that against Napoleon. I mean, it's really quite a spectacular game in that respect. Oh, wow, we can hit these guys. They'll be in a fort, but we'll come in with tons of heavy archers.
Ready for orders.
Well, I say tons of heavy archers, some light archers and heavy archers, as well as two whole armies.
Hunger for battle.
These guys are not in a happy position. Anyway, like I was saying, I tend to agree. Like, I don't understand why Fire by Rank, like, maybe someone can speak to this, because I don't have a ton of knowledge, historically speaking, of this time period, but did Fire by Rank go away in the Napoleonic era? You would think they'd still be doing that, right? And the slower rate of fire meant that it was more realistic to me and, like, more strategic. I mean, you were lucky if you got in 2 or 3 shots a minute, depending on the unit type. What that allowed, though, was if you didn't time your volleys right, it led for a really fun strategic gameplay, especially in terms of cavalry charges. So, like, if someone wasted their volley, then the cavalry charge could come in, and with the slower rate of fire, sometimes you could run those cavalry charges. They would, of course, then go into a square, but then that would give you an opportunity maybe to follow up with, like, say, one of your own infantry units to move in and get its volley if you forced a square somewhere. And so I really loved the tactics that Empire had as a result of what I felt like was very awesome mechanics in terms of the way that the firing and the squares and the cavalry charges and all that kind of stuff. And then light cavalry had, you know, a distinct advantage in speed over heavy cavalry in that game, and so it served a very specific purpose where it was very quick, versus the heavy cavalry, of course, was much stronger in melee when it would get in, and more dangerous in a prolonged melee. And so I feel like Empire had some really neat stuff in it that just, for whatever reason, didn't get carried very well over into Napoleon, and I never really understood why. But if anybody can answer that, let me know. But anyway, that's the reason why I preferred Empire over Napoleon. Let's go ahead and attack the Glory of Epona here. I guess these guys are Zelda fans. I could auto-resolve this, but we're not going to. We'll take them out. So they're going to be fortified. Their units are going to fight pretty well, like, in this fortified position. Like, even if I have pretty elite swordsmen, there's quite a bit of risk here. The Pikes might do okay if we can keep them in formation, but really what we're going to want to do here, ideally, is cause our damage with our archers and maximize our archer damage. So that is what I will focus on. So I'll use my archers to first take out their towers. Let's see, my reinforcements. I don't know exactly where they'll come from, and I don't know that we have to be uber specific. Just line these units out, get started. Over to flaming shot, off fire at will, guard mode. Okay, we're gonna move up
Our reinforcements
to position.
Now, to arms.
There we go.
Riders, advance.
All right. Take up our position. I'm gonna wait on my reinforcements. There is no entrance from. Oh, they sallied out because we have such overwhelming force. Okay, that's good. We can work with that. Archers halt. Pikes pull up. Cavalry cease advance. And swordsmen spread out to the flanks. Alright. A couple in reserve.
Melee troops awaiting orders.
Alright, spread out to the flank.
Yours to command. Silver shield swordsman. Silver shield swordsman. Yours to command.
Okay.
Quick march.
Alright. So the enemy sallied out. I was able to reposition kind of just in the nick of time here. Ready to get into a phalanx formation. No, 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 no. Up here. They're all gonna do that stupid crossing route. That I don't want them to do.
As you command. Shield bearers.
Let's go ahead and position these troops manually.
Silver shield swordsman. Melee troops awaiting orders. At speed. Orders. Pikeman, right flanks.
Pike formation. And the AI is ignoring my flank over here, so I'm going to immediately push that.
Hellenic cataphract.
Alright, so you're getting into position.
Orders, my lord.
The archers pull into position. Shield bearers out of formation attack.
Silver shield swordsman.
Send some of my sword units collapsing in.
Melee infantry ready. Royal peltaxes. Fire. Orders. Orders.
We don't want to be in formation attack against these barbarian. Our shield bearer is going to get a little bit overwhelmed back here.
The battle is turning in our favor.
Indeed it is. What is this unit attacking me here? An Oathsworn? We'll probably want to pull our spearmen back from that.
Your orders. As you command. Engage. Advance.
Alright. I'm going to fix that Oathsworn. Ready to overwhelm it. I'm going to take one Ozit Knight around either flank here. Send in our Hellenic Cataphracts to help our Silver Shields against the Tribal Warriors. And we've got more elephants, so let's collapse our elephants into this fight. Come out of flaming shots. Some really nice kills on the back of that Oathsworn. I'm gonna go take out these Celtic slingers.
General, engage! Elephants! Hellenic cataphracts! Elephant!
They do have their towers going still, which is unfortunate for us, but it's not going to stop us from succeeding. I'm trying to pull my elephants through so they can do more damage. attacking.
Ready for orders! Ready for orders!
One of our units has gone berserk.
Where'd we lose? Hang on, which unit went berserk? Oh, this one back here. Darn. I have a mercenary war elephant that's going insane at the moment. Probably from my own archers. Let's get our cavalry out of this fight, and let's swing back here.
What are your orders? Silver shield, sword, silver shield,
Turn off fire at will in these fights. Let's pull our general back.
Silver shield, swordsman. Pikes. Yes, come
Send some help this way. Basically just try and help finish up this fight. I want to throw some extra warm bodies into this fight. Cease fire with a lot of my archers because we're likely to just cause a lot of friendly damage. Our elephants caught up to some of these spear warriors and are massacring them. This Indian war elephant took some damage in that fight. I might go ahead and pull it out. They're the ones that probably took the friendly volley earlier. There we go. So, Tylus easily defeated and finished off here. They were massively outnumbered, and not only that, we had the quality advantage as well. So they didn't have a whole lot of prayers in that fight. Dalak says, "Air, never fear, air is here," and his artillery crew instantly routes. Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, that's what I would do if I were in my own army, to be fair. Boss says, "Hey, Air, nice episode. You can have your ships hit more accurate when you take them off flaming, and just use normal rounds. You can control the catapult via the camera mode and fire it yourself." Well, I doubt that my self-aiming would do much good, but thank you for reminding me about the accuracy increase whenever you are not using the flaming rounds, so thank you. Good to know. And you don't necessarily need the flaming rounds. I think it does potentially light the enemy ship on fire, but the standard rounds would still cause a lot of hull damage and should still be quite good. So the fight against Tylus is going very well. They've got very little left. And let's see, we do have our movement points with this army here in Samosata. They're not going to be necessary here at the moment, so I'm going to move them down to Antioch and kind of refit them a little bit. This army is kind of out of date, and we'll do it a few units at a time. Down here and pick up some Syrian heavies. These units are going to be very useful. We got a lot of thorax swords. I don't know how many more units I can train on this turn, so let's just wait, get our Syrian heavies, and then we'll add more units in on the next one. This army is now completed. It's refit. We've got silver shield swordsmen, heavies, so this army is ready to go. I'm gonna make sail for Athens. I don't think we're really gonna be needed at Ephesus. Got plenty of other troops moving in. We should be able to attack Rhodes at this point. And Rhodes will indeed fall easily to my troops. We're probably going to want to raise it. Yep. So we are now in control of Rhodes, and no doubt the Colossus at Rhodes. What else do we need here? There we go. Then spent some money making some improvements there. Let's go check out. This army is now ready to go. So we've got another army to face the barbarian hordes of the north. Our army is still waiting in ambush. This is Chosen Sword, so a small but decentish army coming in from the Arverni. This other one is still replenishing. And then we defeated the Arverni up north. So this army is kind of awaiting its next assignment as well. We've got some really good recruiting here. We don't have the cavalry, but we'd have most everything else at Provincia. I'm thinking I'm going to go replace the archers and thorax swords and thurio spears in this army since it's temporarily unneeded. So let's move down here. I don't think we have to be all the way in the province to finish recruiting. Let's test that by getting rid of one unit and then finding out. No, we do not. So let's go ahead and swap the archers out. similar to what we're doing in the other army. Go ahead and start with the Syrian heavies. Syrian heavies have the heavy shot, and they hit harder, period. So should be a very nice archer unit for us. I think that we're pretty much out of things to do on this turn. You have some skill points to hand out, though, because we did a lot of conquering. Brothers of Xenophon can improve their cavalry. Get the level 3 horses, which should give us some pretty nice stats. Went here into the upgrade. They got an army tradition. We'll give them siege experts, and then their general can continue picking up more strategist skills. Really like the strategy tree. There's a lot of neat abilities in it. None of these are going to be insanely helpful, but go check out our family tree real quick. We've got a little bit of money left at the end, and I know there was a couple of characters we were still hoping to marry off, but they just hadn't had enough gravitas. Here's one of them. We'll look for more on the next turn. If we need to. We do. We still got this guy. Oh, we can get him married this turn, though. Even though it's a bit higher gravitas, I think the cost goes up the more characters you marry off on the same turn, is what someone told me. That's it. I think we've got everybody married up. So that's good news indeed. And let's take a look to see. We should have more skill points to deal with. Able to continue the authority tree there with the Heralds of Thanos and their new leader. I believe that's it. So let's end this turn. I'm going to get a couple more comments from you all on this one. Let's see. Jason says, I prefer Empire over Napoleon. While it may have just been a feel, Empire felt like it was a bigger map. Napoleon seemed like a good Total War game that had linear gameplay. It's just my opinion. Auto-resolve that battle at Ars. The AI will make you the butt of their joke. I like it. Perfect, Jason. One Rio Dream says, the reason those settlements have good siege hold is because they have ports. If you blockade them, it will help. Thank you. Appreciate the advice. Aaron says, just wanted to add that I'm loving the campaign. New to Total War games, having just picked Rome 2 up last month. Almost picked it up so many times over the years. I'm glad that I decided to finally do it. Really enjoyed watching and learning about the game with the series. Please keep it up. Well, thanks, Aaron. I'm glad it's helpful, and welcome to the game. It is a fun one. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Not perfect, but plenty of fun. I made more slums. How perfect. Leave it to me, folks. Look at that. 4 slums. All in one location. Is there any greater than I at making us slums? And the answer is, of course, no. Let's get one last comment here. Jeroen says, hey, Air, probably didn't get reinforced because the fortified army got sabotaged by an enemy agent. Well, that would make sense. That might make sense if the sabotage skill causes that issue. Whenever you've been there, so thanks for the idea. I'm gonna blockade the port. And then I'm going to move my armies in. Sons of Rhea here. And Ephesus will have a few turns to hold that, but not many. I'm gonna build some towers just in case we have to fight it. Continue that siege. Roads coming under our control. Convert that settlement. And we have some armies where I'm going to continue to do some refitting with better troops. So I'm going to take this army and take all the sword and Thurios units and disband. We're going to replace them. Silver shields. So silver shield swords and royal peltist will give us a much heavier component. The thorax pikes are honestly fine. Yes, silver shield pikes are better. We might go ahead and replace them with that just because we can, but not totally necessary. The thorax pikes are still going to absolutely own barbarian defenders and stuff. We need to do some retrofitting on this army as well. This one is definitely ready to hit the frontier. The Arverni who were standing on our frontier have pushed back. I don't believe they spotted our... No, they've moved over here, so they've... It's like they force march in a different direction. Well, let's get their attention. Let's get their attention by moving towards their settlements here. And pushing into Iberia. Some olive oil food there, so that is going to be a very productive food settlement. What else for these guys to... Well, they do have a port settlement over here at Olispo. But I'm going to keep my fleet here, just in case we need to defend. Yeah, just in case we need to defend. I'm going to need to raise more fleets. Ultimate victory is going to depend on me having enough naval units, which is probably the only thing keeping me from having the ultimate victory conditions right now. But yeah, anyway, let's end this one. History and Footy Lover says, I prefer Empire Total War because I think the improved graphics... I prefer Empire, says Total War because I think the improved graphics in Napoleon weren't good enough to compensate for all the messed up shooting mechanics in Napoleon. See, I agree. There's a lot of people who seem to be agreeing with me, but I saw a lot of comments responding to the Creative Assembly. It was basically stating that all of them liked, like, talking about how, like, Empire had bad shooting mechanics. And I'm like, bro, what planet did you live on? I never understood it. Like, the shooting mechanics in Napoleon were kind of wonky. Like, the guys didn't always fire in unison. They didn't fire by rank. It just, the volley fire in general in Empire just seemed so much more thematic for that age. And I know we've discussed that already on this episode, but still, like, it just really sticks in my mind. And I was kind of shocked to see so many people saying that they preferred the shooting mechanics in Napoleon. It may have just been a speed thing, because the action was definitely faster in Napoleon, so maybe they enjoyed that. Like, maybe they didn't like the slower pace that you got in Empire. Perhaps, as an explanation. I know for me, that was something I didn't mind at all, but... Or actually, hold on. No. I'm doing it wrong. Just swapped them the other way. There we go. Alright, so I got my army all set up. I think I took these guys off of formation attack, which is great. Let's begin our push against the forces of Tylus. They're receiving reinforcements, so I'm going to push forward and put some pressure on them. They will probably just fall back. Try and get set up with the reinforcements. That is what they are doing, and it's what they should do. Fighting me piecemeal would just be certain death. Okay. It's looking good so far. They are indeed falling back. They've got a noble horse back here. Let's keep an eye out for it. It's a nice heavy cavalry unit. Get repositioned because it looks like they might be about to kind of suicide charge me here. Yeah, they've gotten their forces together and they are ready to charge. They know that they're at a disadvantage. I'm going to target these Thracian warriors here. Thracian warriors are not going to have good missile defense, but they cause a ton of damage on the charge, so I'm going to soften them up, essentially, in preparation for that fight. Now I'm going to start taking out Celtic skirmishers. Get a nice javelin volley into that noble horse there before it tries to do any charging.
The enemy general is dead.
Excellent. Enemy general is dead. That is a message that I enjoy receiving. Celtic skirmishers are getting mowed down. Let's get in here. Let's push forward with their cavalry. Is this a tribal warrior? Those tribal warriors are going to own us on the charge. We'll need to go give them some cavalry support. Start collapsing in this flank. A little bit late on closing up that flank. Come on, get moving. Take out the next skirmisher target. And I'm going to need to help against these heavy infantry over here. I'm going to go ahead and just... bigger charge with this infantry. Let my archers finish off the Celtic slingers. And I'm going to bring in my Hellenic cataphracts to help crush this fight. Should get a good charge. Finish up the charge.
Our general is under attack.
You'll be alright. Got a good feeling about this one. I'm surprised the enemy morale is holding out as well as it is. Some of my thorax swords are understandably taking a lot of damage against some of these heavy barbarian infantry. Not terribly surprised. Like this unit right here is getting absolutely waylaid by tribal warriors. I'm gonna give the tribal warriors a bit of a beating.
The men are wavering.
We got absolutely crushed right there by the tribal warriors. Cycle some charges in here.
Orders. As you command.
Cycle out.
As you command.
Push our infantry in. And the numbers game is taking its toll now. Ceasefire with their archers. It's like we just cast friendly fire. So there we go. Easy victory. Took some more damage than I wanted on some of my thorax swords, but I mean, again, you can't underestimate the damage that these barbarian units will cause on the charge. It is significant, especially when they're heavily armored and they're going up against subpar Greek swords. Like, they're gonna hurt you. Like, they're gonna hurt you bad. This is gonna be the basic gist of that story. We defeated the garrison at Ephesus.
You have further orders?
Ransom off the wounded there.
War! Our gods demand it.
So
Our
the
ancestors love it. You
faction
expect to
that's
see mewling like a woman.
nearby, I guess, so they're going to declare war on me. I'm not going to call my allies to help. There's no need for Carthage to fight in this war. I don't want to risk losing them as an ally in case it just so happens to be a war that they don't want to get involved in. So, leave them be. Leave Carthage out of it. They've suffered enough because of the Romans and all the other factions. Going to help poor Carthage. Sons of Rhea, Bendis, child is born, mystery. Okay, so we're doing good. We've got a lot going on. Things are going well. Gathering as much info out north. A lot of Boii up north. Come back down here to Iberia, where the Gauls force marched an army in to try and hold their settlement. But they are not going to be able to hold this settlement. And they are very much outmatched here. Gotta Resolve's probably going to be a little bit unpleasant to me. Let's go ahead and fight this one as well. Just so I don't take a bunch of unnecessary casualties. Because I am pushing forward to kind of a new frontier here, and I don't want to have to retrain a whole bunch of elephants. Let's see. Sean says, I prefer Empire because I had a larger scope, would have preferred a little more map from Napoleon, and would have preferred that they start the Grand Campaign a few years earlier. Interesting ideas. I think I agree. Let's see. Francesca says, I agree. I prefer Napoleon, mostly for the graphics and naval battles. If CA remastered Empire with Napoleon's graphics but kept its unique world map feature, I'd be all over that. It'd be a take my money kind of thing. Yep, I think a lot of people probably feel that way too. Like, there's probably a bunch of people who just really preferred the improved effects and some of the other things in Napoleon, because it can make a huge difference in a game when it gets basically updated, especially if there was something in the old one that was kind of borderline to begin with.
Orders. Missile infantry ready.
Okay. Alright, set to go. Let's take out these Arverni scum. They sallied out of their settlement. They didn't want to fight defensively, which I don't know that they have a good option. Fighting defensively Might theoretically be better if you weren't facing off against 4 Persian heavies and 2 light peltasts. I mean, they don't really have a good option. So, sally out, stay inside, didn't really matter. These guys were in big trouble. Let's see, Celtic slingers, so they will have some range. That's okay, I'm gonna rest just side of their range. Make sure my heavy infantry gets up to full stamina. You guys don't like running across the battlefield in that kind of armor. Your stamina is definitely a bit of a weak spot. And I'm gonna move into range. This will probably cause the Arverni to attack. They did.
What are your orders? Stay alert!
Let's go precision shot and start hitting some of these Celtic skirmishers. I'm gonna wipe out this Celtic light horse that's pushing my flank.
Spearmen at the ready!
Our hidden units have been discovered.
All tasks. Orders understood.
Okay, so Celtic skirmishers going down in droves.
Ready! Ready! Orders ready!
Got charged over here by a noble horse
Royal Peltas!
into one of our royal peltasts. We'll take a little bit of damage from that. Royal peltast is not a super heavy unit, so it will at times be pretty beaten up. Let's have our Ozids quit chasing that light cavalry. It's no longer any dire concern to me. Syrian heavies are busy picking off enemies. Things are looking quite good for us. We can now use... We got charged by that light horse. I'm not very concerned about what a few light horse are going to do to an Indian armored elephant. Should be of very little concern. Some tosses with those light peltasts into the skirmisher units. And I'm going to start mowing down more Celtic skirmishers. I'm going to use my Ozids to force that spear noble into a defensive stance. I'm not actually going to charge them. Our light peltasts are annihilating these skirmishers, and then those mercenary Iberian swordsmen got bushwhacked by my royal peltast. Ceasefire with my archers. Oh, there's some chosen swords in here. The silver shield swords got a little overly torn up, in my opinion. Alright, yeah, we could actually use our light peltasts to fix this fight. Get some rear charges in here. Keep on charging. Hellenic cataphracts clean that up. Spear nobles took a nasty charge. Let's cycle out of that. Rear charge with some shield bearers. And here comes the armored elephants. Come in here and finish off these spear nobles. To be a unit with pretty sturdy morale. But they are going to be dead now, so there we go. It's in the battle. Solid victory. Only one of my units taking any significant damage, and it was an infantry unit. I'm mostly trying to make sure they don't shred my elephants here and make it take a long time. Elephants can be a very, very effective tool against barbarian infantry, especially if you stay clear of any enemy javelins. So that's why we want our elephants to be healthy. They can get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kills in these fights, so gotta kind of treat them like your super weapon. I occupied that and I should have raised it. Convert some of these buildings. We had slums at Ankara. Swing back over here and take care of that before I create the same issue. There we go. And I don't know whether we would have slums elsewhere. Probably check quickly. Start in Italia, and I'm just going to start cycling through these provinces and look for potential slums. Once I get back to Italia, we will know we are at no such risk. We definitely still have a lot of buildings to be built. And it takes an amount of money that we just don't have to be able to do all in one turn. We will get to it eventually. Africa, Cisalpina, Italia. Okay, so we are not in danger of any slums at the moment, or at least I just missed them when I went through. But I do want to build a port here. I want to build a military wharf here. Could be a good place to launch attacks into Britannia. Spend some money upgrading this place. Okay, this army use a little bit of refit. This one is now refit and will easily be able to stand against any enemies might come against us. I'm going to go garrison at Nemosus because it's the most at-risk settlement that I have in the vicinity, whereas I'm going to take this Losa is still here so we can start refitting this army. Let's actually, I would have to cancel some buildings. Let's go here and hold off on that building. Use the extra money to start some Syrian heavies up into this army. There we go. Oh, yeah, here they are. I was like, crap, did I not? I was worried that I wasn't able to recruit the Syrian heavies. There we go. So we're going to get the Syrian heavies to that army. All right. I know this episode may be a bit shorter than previous ones, but I am out of time for now. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I will be making more videos this week, so keep an eye out. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for participating. Hope you all are enjoying this, and I'll be back with more soon. HeirofCarthage signing out.